Hey guys, it's Angelo, and today we're discussing Mythic Plus dungeons coming in World of Warcraft Legion. Mythic Plus dungeons will bring dungeons back into long-time relevance for the game, offering a challenging, interesting, and incredibly rewarding experience for all players. We'll be covering what Mythic Plus dungeons are specifically, exactly what this difficulty will bring to the table for you, and what you can expect of them. Taking the role of a counterpart to raiding in many if not all possible ways, Mythic Plus dungeons will build the bridge between completely casual players and raiders. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and have a look. In Legion, the dungeons are split into more than just 3 difficulties, this is excluding challenge modes: Normal, Heroic, and Mythic, and new to the playground, Mythic Plus. Where the latter will be discussed in just a few moments, be aware that the other 3 difficulties have essentially remained unchanged. Normal still gets you introduced to the idea of dungeons, Heroic will be the first test of your abilities while rewarding you with decent gear, and Mythic dungeons will be a slightly upgraded version of Heroic dungeons, so nothing is really different here yet. Mythic Plus dungeons, however, are basically regular Mythic dungeons mixed together with challenge mode dungeons. Incredibly similar to Diablo's Greater Rift system, these dungeons become more and more challenging the higher in difficulty you go, and are set on a given timer. We'll get into that in a second though. Now, just know that the 3 regular difficulties as mentioned above are still the same as in Warlords of Draenor, and will set you on the same gearing and playing path as they have in the past. I'd personally advise you all to get a feel for each dungeon while leveling the max level, as they will become a great factor of what you'll be spending your time with during the end game. Once you have reached level 110, and once you've undergone said gearing path of completing Normal, then Heroic, and then regular Mythic difficulty and have acquired enough gear through this, you'll be able to safely form or join a Mythic Plus group. Theoretically, there is no gear requirement for Mythic Plus, as you could potentially enter one after having freshly dinged 110, but realistically speaking, this is impossible, as the content would be way too hard for you. That being said, Mythic Plus dungeons, just like regular Mythic dungeons, will not allow you to queue for them via the Dungeon Finder tool. Instead, you will have to form or join your own group, then travel to the actual dungeon location yourself in order to participate. There is a total of 10 dungeons at Legion's launch, with all of them having a Mythic Plus difficulty available. The Eye of Ashara, Darkheart Thicket, Halls of Valor, Neltharion's Lair, Violet Hold, Vault of the Wardens, Blackrook Hold, and the Maw of Souls will be available to you right away, while the Court of Stars and the Archway have to be unlocked while questing in Sormar. Now, as mentioned above my friends, Mythic Plus dungeons have multiple levels to them, hence the Mythic Plus. All you need to activate them is a Mythic Keystone, obtained once a week by completing a regular Mythic dungeon. With this Keystone, you and your group are able to access a Mythic Plus dungeon that of course accords to the Keystone level, starting off with a Keystone that opens level 1. If you were able to complete level 1 in the given time frame, you are now eligible to access level 2, as your Keystone will be upgraded. Should you fail to complete the dungeon in the given time, your Keystone will not be upgraded and you will lose it, however you will still receive some loot. Depending on how good you are, you can keep upgrading your Keystone higher and higher, with the dungeons becoming more and more of a challenge every time. But let's have a look at these difficulties and let's see what changes from level to level. Now, essentially, each difficulty increases the health and damage output of your enemies by a flat % value each level, and starting at level 3, these things called affixes will also be added, or abilities within the dungeon that are not found in lower difficulties. Level 1 adds 8% health and damage to your enemies, while level 2 adds 17%. Level 3 to level 5 will add 26% and can either have the Tyrannical, Bolstering, Raging, or Teeming affix. Level 6 adds 59% and said affixes, level 7 adds 71%, and level 8 and higher add 85%, and have 2 affixes at the same time, with either the previous 4 or Necrotic, Volcanic, Skittish, or Decay. Currently, there are 8 implemented pairs of affixes, which will become relevant at level 8 or higher of course. I'll link them all in the description for you. Needless to say though, The timer on these levels also become less forgiving every time, meaning in order to complete the higher Mythic Plus dungeons, you will have to play to the maximum of your ability together as a team. Be aware that higher level Mythic difficulties will also require you to use CC effects more frequently, well, very frequently actually, as well as making the most out of the classes you have available in your group. This supports the idea that certain group combinations will be favorable to others, and realistically speaking, classes who lack a decent output of AoE damage will ultimately have a difficult time when we're talking about higher levels of Mythic Plus, possibly level 6, level 7, definitely level 8 or more, depending on your personal skill and class mastery. Mythic dungeons are a perfect measure for people who don't have enough time to raid hardcore on their hands, but still want to be competitive in their own sense. Because Mythic dungeons will reward you with loot that can scale all the way up to Mythic raid item levels, this is also a perfect opportunity for you as a raider to profit from, in order for you to properly prepare before the raids open their gates. Now finally, I'll give you some personal opinions on what I like about Mythic dungeons, or rather Mythic Plus dungeons actually, and what I dislike about them. First off, Mythic Plus dungeons will bring a lot of interesting content with them, and will without a doubt remain relevant through most of the content, at least at the beginning, that is for sure. They offer interesting gameplay, challenge you in many different ways, and are never a repetition of the previous encounter, and reward players with up to 2 loot chests containing loot that is suited to your item level, meaning you have a high chance of getting an item that will be an upgrade for you. What I dislike though, in all honesty, is something that concerns me deeply, and it'll be interesting to see how Blizzard actually deals with this. Players govern the Mythic Plus environment completely. I'll give you an example. On my item level 845 Priest on the Legion beta, I wanted to join a Mythic Plus 2 difficulty Maw of Souls dungeon. I've done Mythic difficulties up to level 6 in the past, so this plus 2 difficulty shouldn't have been something overly challenging for myself. However, the group decided to decline me because of my, and I quote, low item level. Keep in mind that Mythic Plus 2 difficulty at this point is below my capabilities, meaning I could have easily joined that group and completed the dungeon along with them. I'm generally a person that is completely fine with an issue like this, as I'd, well, just make my own group most of the time. But I fear that many players who don't have the knowledge and experience in their repertoire will suffer from this. Getting gear in Legion is more complicated than it has been in the past, and the fact that players will set unjustified, high standards to low levels of Mythic Plus dungeons is something Blizzard should consider changing. Perhaps allowing players to queue up for level maybe 1 through 4 via a dungeon finder, and then locking it from level 5 on out, this would be something I would really support, honestly. This would allow people to get introduced to this new challenge easily, without deterring players away from it. Now, to sum things up for us, I think that Mythic Plus dungeons will overall be a great enrichment to World of Warcraft. And, well, they really have the potential to finally keep players subscribed and active within the game for a long period of time. Nothing is perfect, however, and I believe that Blizzard should improve some social aspects of this new difficulty, as in my opinion it is prone to elitist-minded players getting a bit out of hand. All in all, it's a perfect way to gear up and test your abilities though, without having to invest the time you'd have to invest when raiding, for example. I truly hope you'll enjoy this new content, and please be sure to let me know what you think of all of this in the comments below. Now, I've commented on this exactly 2 videos ago actually, and I stated that we've reached 300 subscribers, and for that I was super thankful. My friends, we've now reached 500 subscribers. 500 of you enjoying my content and placing your trust in me. I am tremendously thankful for every one of you. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one.